So, you want to buy a project car? Great idea. Or a terrible one, depending on how much patience, time, and money you have. Either way, we're here to make sure you don't end up with a car that spends more time as a driveway ornament than an actual vehicle. Buying a project car is an exhilarating experience for any car enthusiast. But it's also a big commitment. It's going to challenge your mechanical skills, test your patience, and yes, empty your wallet. But at the end of it all, when your vision comes together, it will be worth every moment spent wrenching on it. So if you're watching this, you probably already have that dream car in mind. Maybe you've been fantasizing about building a JDM legend, restoring a classic muscle car, or perhaps creating a street-legal race car. Regardless of what your dream project looks like, this guide is going to walk you through everything, from choosing the right car to finishing the build. Let's make sure you don't make the common mistakes that leave so many project cars abandoned, unfinished, and collecting dust in the garage. The first thing you need to do is figure out exactly what kind of car you want. Are you leaning towards something Japanese? Or perhaps a muscle car to bring back some vintage American muscle? Maybe you're thinking about a Euro car, or you're drawn to something more niche. Do you want a front-wheel drive car, rear-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive? Oh, and one very important question: manual or automatic? But don't stress too much if you don't know exactly what you want yet. The key is narrowing it down to a specific category. The more specific you are in your search, the fewer random listings you'll have to scroll through. Once you've got a general idea, take it a step further. Research the models within your category. Compare their specs, reliability, and aftermarket support. A cheap car might seem like a steal, but be careful if parts for that car are hard to find. A car that's difficult or expensive to repair will drain your budget much faster than you'd expect. So look for something with strong aftermarket support, where parts are widely available and reasonably priced. A big factor to consider is the overall cost of ownership. Just because a car is cheap doesn't mean it'll be cheap to maintain. For example, BMWs can be picked up for a few $1,000s, but their repair costs can be sky high. On the other hand, a car like an old Honda Civic, while not the flashiest option, will be much more affordable to fix and maintain. Let's be honest, if you've never changed your own oil, you probably shouldn't start with a car that has a half-disassembled rotary engine. But if you're eager to learn and ready to take on some mechanical challenges, don't shy away from something more complex. That's part of the fun, right? The key here is to match the car you choose to your mechanical ability. If you're just getting started and don't have extensive experience working on cars, look for something relatively simple. There are a lot of cars out there with large online communities filled with enthusiasts who can guide you when you run into issues. Some great beginner-friendly project cars include the Mazda Miata, Honda Civic, and a Ford Mustang. These cars have a massive aftermarket support network and tons of online resources to help you navigate repairs and modifications. Now that you have a car in mind, it's time to figure out what you want to do with it. Do you want to turn it into a drift car? Are you aiming for a drag build? Or maybe you just want something that sounds awesome when you floor it. There's no shortage of inspiration out there. Browse through YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok to see what others have done with similar cars. But don't just copy their builds. Make it your own. Define your goals early so that you don't end up wasting money on parts that don't fit into your vision. Without clear goals, you'll likely end up buying random parts on impulse and switching directions over and over. Whether your car is going to be performance-focused, aesthetic-driven, or somewhere in between, defining your build early on will help you stay focused. Ask yourself, do you want a track car, a show car, or perhaps a reliable daily driver with some modifications? Having a clear vision will not only help you stay on track, but also keep your budget in check. Now comes one of the hardest parts: setting a budget. But don't just set a budget for the car's purchase price and repairs. Add a little cushion. Trust me, project cars have a magical ability to drain your wallet faster than you think. Whatever you estimate the cost to fix it, double it. That's just how it goes. There will be surprises along the way and issues that you'll need to fix. This is the reality of owning a project car. Don't forget to factor in the long-term costs too. Will you need a garage to work in? Do you already have the necessary tools? Or will you need to purchase them? What about insurance and registration? These additional costs can add up, so make sure you account for everything in your budget. Where can you actually find these cars? The most common places to look are Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and OfferUp, basically wherever people are selling their questionable life choices. If you already know the car you want, simply search for it. But if you don't have a specific car in mind, scroll through listings until something piques your interest. The key here is patience. The right deal will eventually pop up, but it might take a while. Another important thing to consider is being willing to travel for the right car. The best deals aren't always found in your city. Expanding your search radius can save you thousands. A car that's a few hundred miles away might be cheaper than a local one, even after factoring in travel expenses. When you find a car that looks interesting, do some serious research. Look up common issues with the model, check for parts availability, and see if there are any recurring problems that could be a deal breaker. You can also check other listings to get a sense of fair pricing. Owner reviews and videos on YouTube are great for getting a feel for what owning the car is like and what problems you might encounter. Additionally, join online forums or Facebook groups dedicated to that specific car model. These communities are a treasure trove of information, and you'll often find people who can help you determine if a specific car is a good buy or not. Once you've found a car that interests you, it's time to reach out to the seller. Before you contact them, make a list of the issues they've mentioned in the ad and research how much it will cost to fix them. When you message the seller, don't send a vague inquiry like, "Is this available?" Sellers are likely to ignore those messages. Instead, ask specific questions like, "How well does it run?" and "What needs to be fixed?" These questions will help you determine whether the car is worth pursuing. Pay attention to how the seller responds. If their answers are vague or overly optimistic, like saying, "It just needs a tune-up" or "ran when parked," be cautious. These kinds of responses often indicate bigger issues, so don't take them at face value. If the car runs, that's great, but if not, you might need to tow it or bring a trailer. Also, watch out for missing paperwork, rust in structural areas, and mismatched paint, which could indicate previous accident damage. These are all potential red flags that could cost you more money down the road. Once the seller's responses have given you the green light, schedule an inspection. Offer your availability to make it easier for the seller, but remember, people have lives outside of selling their project cars. When you inspect the car, keep your eyes peeled for common issues. If you're not familiar with what to look for, it might be a good idea to bring a friend who knows cars well. Check for rust, leaks, frame damage, and any other signs that scream "money pit." Inspect the interior for missing parts, torn seats, and broken electronics. These issues might seem small, but they add up quickly. Start the engine and listen for strange noises. Check the tires, brakes, and suspension, and make sure everything is in decent working condition. One often overlooked step is to verify the car's title. Make sure the VIN on the title matches the one on the car. Inconsistencies can be a sign of trouble, especially if the car has been stolen or has a salvage title. If you're okay with buying a car with a salvage title, make sure you're fully aware of the risks involved. If everything checks out, it's time to negotiate. Point out the repairs that need to be done and use them to your advantage. Don't be afraid to haggle, the seller expects it. If they're asking for cash, bring it with you to avoid any last-minute issues. And always make sure you get a bill of sale. A paper trail is important when it comes to purchases like these. Once you've bought the car, don't just jump into the build immediately. Do a post-purchase assessment to identify anything you might have missed during the inspection. Prioritize repairs and create a list of parts that you need. Start gathering what you need to get your project car in shape. When planning your build, take your time. Don't just start buying random parts and throwing them at the car. Plan out your upgrades and modifications, whether it's an engine swap, suspension work, or interior restoration, so you can stay on track and avoid wasting money on unnecessary items. Before you start working on your car, make sure you have the right tools. If you don't already have a basic tool set, now is the time to invest. This will make your life much easier. You don't need a full mechanics shop, but having the right tools will save you a lot of headaches. Finally, enjoy the process. Yes, things will go wrong. You'll probably hate your car and want to burn it at times. But when you finally get it running smoothly and take it for that first drive, when you see people admiring your build, when everything comes together, that's when you'll know it was all worth it. It's not just about the end result, it's about the journey. So, buckle up and enjoy every step of the ride. Let me know in the comments what project car you have in mind, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. See you next time.